Even after the phone call had ended, I stood there frozen in place, staring down at my phone. Daigo-kun walked up beside me. Huh? How would I go about explaining it? The journalist to whom Takahashi-san was going to sell a spare key had turned up dead. Whether it was directly connected to apartment 202, I couldn't say. Nevertheless, I had a distinctly bad feeling about it. Still, I couldn't figure out what my gut was trying to tell me. Maybe that we should just leave this place behind. In the car on the way to Ashida General Hospital, I told Daigo-kun about Uchiyama-san and the conversation I'd had with him. As he listened, he folded his arms in contemplation. No, of course not. Why would it be? We're just investigating some ghostly horrors, you know? As far as I knew, there were only 2 deaths directly related to 202, the college girl who had lived there and President Koyama himself, after supposedly letting his lover live there. Allegedly, the woman in question had gone back to her home country, but there was no proof, and Mrs. Koyama was in the hospital. No one else had lived in 202 since, and as for the neighboring apartments, no one had died as a result of the ghostly attacks. At least that's what they wanted to believe. Thus, it didn't seem likely that 202 could get someone killed at this point in time. Maybe it can. How would you know? Why would you just think, no, that's not it? I would be fucking paranoid. When we arrived at the hospital, we decided to first pay a visit to Daigo-kun's sister. Unlike the other specialized departments, the psych ward didn't seem terribly strict about visitors, which is horrible since especially this one needs to be strict in my opinion. Patients were given their own private rooms, which looked to be much closer together than those in the internal medicine ward. Oh god, she looks horrible. I followed Daigo-kun into a room near the stairs. There I found a woman lying in bed asleep, countenance gaunt and pale. Fucking hell, she looks old as hell. Her lips were dry and chapped, her hair shaggy and unkempt. Come on, give her a chapstick or something. Just rub it over. It pained me to look at her, reduced to skin and bones, tubes sticking out of her arms. Still, I could tell from her facial structure that she must have been quite the looker when she was healthy. Daigo is really strong to just deal with it like that. As he spoke, he picked up a hamper of dirty laundry. Jesus Christ, Daigo, you're fucking... Wow. Left to twiddle my thumbs until I returned, I decided to pass the time by staring out the window at the scenery. Oh, why not stare at this girl, sleeping on the bed, looking like a fucking ghost? Would be more fun, definitely. Though the 3rd floor psych ward was more relaxed than the rest of the hospital, its architecture was much the same, with fixed windows that couldn't be opened. Guess they're afraid of people jumping. For some reason, that detail alone left me feeling strangely suffocated. The room wasn't particularly spacious, but it was far from claustrophobic either. And yet, for some reason, I felt far too intimidated to be in here alone. No, you're not. But maybe it would be nicer to be alone in here, you know? Sometimes death is better. As I mumbled to myself, I glanced awkwardly at Daigo-kun's sister, Noriko-san. What? There I let out a tiny shriek, and for good reason. She used to say, oh my god, no. Fuck me, look at this. Holy shit, look at those eyes. What are you doing here? And then she starts vomiting in a 360 or something. Noriko-san was supposed to be asleep, and yet her eyes were wide open. Fuck. This fucking game. It's just a simple switch from one CG to another, but it's so strong. And she was looking directly at me. I wasn't sure if she was listening, but I figured I owed her an explanation regardless, even an awkward one. Noriko-san's lips twitched. What? I moved in a bit closer and leaned in. Don't! She will bite your fucking ears off. So I guess this is supposed to mean what did he or something? I still couldn't quite make out what she was asking. Maybe my only option was simply to wait for Daigo-kun to get back. But just as I straightened up once more, I suddenly heard her loud and clear. Are we the ghost? Her eyes were wide with fear. I think Daigo came a little bit too late last night and the ghost is inhabiting us. And she can see it or something. That's one prolonged scream. Jesus Christ, Noriko. An ear-piercing shriek echoed off the walls. Oh, my mouse cursor, sorry. Whoop. Yeah, what's your problem? Fuck me. Confused, I staggered backwards and collapsed to the floor, but Noriko-san kept screaming and screaming. Before long, I heard panicked footsteps approach, and moments later, Daigo-kun dashed into the room.
Ne-chan! Ne-chan! Doshita?
He hurried over to Noriko-san's side as she wailed. Then he looked at me sitting on the floor. What the fuck did you do? He shot me a questioning look, but I could only shake my head and shrug. I didn't have the first clue what was wrong. Then I heard more panicked footsteps, and a group of doctors and nurses flooded to the room at once. Why are they slower than him? You'd think that they, you know, they're supposed to care for these people. Don't get angry at me, I didn't have an answer for him. I stared blankly as the nurses administered a sedative and Noriko-san went back to sleep once more. Good riddance. She was just screaming anyway. It was me, I admit it, okay? After we were ordered out of the room, we stopped by the hanging garden terrace. Don't lie! At least she isn't keeping any secrets from him. What had I looked like to her? Did she see a fragment of a horrific past reflected in me or something? No, I'm not Daijoubu. The question caught me off guard and I paused. All I needed were 2 words. Daijoubu. And yet for some reason I couldn't bring myself to say it. I forced myself not to dwell on it. With that, I got up from the bench, but just then Daigo-kun grabbed my hand. Bitch, fucking tell me how you are. Yeah, tell me your Daijoubu, it's... Finally, come on. I looked down at his hand on mine, then trailed my gaze up his arm to his face. He stared back intently. Oh, is this a flag or something? With my free hand I reached out and gently stroked his hair and forced a smile. This is definitely a romance flag. She never said something about silly. So what was the translation doing there? Was I reassuring him or myself? Daigo-kun relinquished his grip on my hand and I led the way out of the terrace. So they're holding hands now? That's nice. Yes. Which base is this, first base or something? No, I don't think it is. When we arrived at President Koyama's wife's room, we found that someone else had beaten us to the punch. The woman whipped her head around to look at us, evidently caught off guard by the additional visitors. She looked to be somewhere in her 40s. We hadn't expected to encounter anyone ourselves, so we hastily apologized for the interruption, and she apologized in kind for flustering us. Then we handed her the get-well flowers we'd brought, and she invited us to have a seat. Who is this? Oh, kids, huh? That's another lead. Aha, so she's the daughter then. That would explain why she was visiting. Really, I hadn't considered that President Koyama might have other family, but in retrospect, I should have expected it. I wasn't sure how best to explain it. You know, we're ghost hunters at this point, basically. Would the truth offend her?
もしかして父のことと関係がありますか？その電話の方ではないようですけど。
New theory. Imagine the person she spoke to on the phone was the journalist. She fucking offed him. She's the one that killed him.
電話？
Something about the mention of a phone call gave me pause. But she gave a vague smile and shook her head.
いえ、こちらの話です。ところで。
There's only one other person that was investigating this. Kai, don't be dumb. Though her voice was hard, her words suggested our presence was reasonably welcome.
母はこんな状態ですし、父はもういませんし。
Yeah, why did we come here in the first place?
お役に立てるかどうかはわかりませんが、お花のお礼にお話くらいはお伺いします。
話を聞いてもらえるだけでありがたいと思ってます。正直、答えを求めてここに来たわけではないので。
I was holding off earlier, phrasing it like that, but no point in trying to interrogate a vegetable. Game. That's really insensitive, you know. Honestly though, I didn't really have an explanation for why we'd come. What? This was the whole point of coming here, was for this lady, wasn't it? You wanted to come to Hashida General Hospital. You didn't come here because of Daigo's sister, did you? She introduced herself as Okamoto Mitsue, and we introduced ourselves in return. The expression on her face was complicated, to say the least.
あのアパートにお住まいなんですね。
Really?
それなら、ここをお尋ねになるのもわかる気はします。
So she knows what's going on, or is this referring to the phone call? Since I guess the journalist must have told her what this is about.
あのアパートのこと、ご存知なんですか？
Surely she must have, but I decided to ask, just in case. Mitsue-san nodded slightly.
詳しくは知りませんけど、ただ、春子おばさんにお金を払って、女の人を囲っているのは、なんとなく知ってました。
You know, Haruko Oba-san doesn't mean cousin Haruko, but it's fine. Translators, I'll let it slip, you know. Not everyone is a Japanophile like I am. Of course that was a joke, but there are a few words that I pick up. By Haruko, she must have meant my landlady, Inamoto-san. I seem to remember seeing the name Haruko on the rental agreement they signed.
じゃあ、そこにどんな人が住んでたかご存知ありませんか？そして何があったのか。
詳しくは。ただ。
Just what? Yeah. Mitsue-san furrowed her brow and glanced awkwardly over at her mother. Almost as though she was worried about the older woman overhearing.
父は、すごくその人に入れ込んでたようなんです。
Crazy, you say?
女子大生にお金を払って、ルームシェアさせて、母に簡単に嗅ぎつけられないように。
This doesn't make any sense at all, you know? There's one woman living there. Let's pay another one to share the apartment, and now it's not suspicious anymore? What? He could have slept with both, you know? Apparently Mama Nancy was spot on. It was hard to picture Mrs. Koyama being much of a threat in her current state, but judging from the look on Mitsue-san's face, she must have been perfectly capable.
ただでさえ帰らない父がもっと帰らなくなって。あの事件が起こるまで3ヶ月は帰ってきてないって、ずっと母から電話があったんです。母も気が狂う寸前でした。
あの事件って、その女子大生が亡くなった件ですか？
そうですね。あの件をきっかけに、春子おばさんのアパートを引き払ったようでしたから。
President Koyama was so attached to his mistress that he didn't want to go home to his wife? In that case, where exactly did they meet up? It didn't make sense. I agree. Surely Motoko-san wouldn't have appreciated him overstaying his welcome in the apartment with them. As I pondered it, Daigo-kun piped up.
せっかくご家族がいらっしゃるんで聞くんですが、 202号室の合鍵はお持ちじゃないですよね。
Why would she? Mitsue-san's eyes widened slightly.
父は持ってるかもしれませんが、私はわかりません。父が死んで、母がこうなってしまってからは、誰もあの家に足を踏み入れてないんです。特に父の部屋は、父の自殺直後から誰も入れなくて。
え？それはまたどうしてですか？
どうして? If that was where he'd killed himself, I certainly couldn't blame them, but still, didn't they need to organize his belongings eventually?
妙なことが起こるんです。
Oh. Mm-hmm. Her face was stiff with fear. Evidently the mere memory was frightening enough.
妙なってどんな？
Oh, you know, weird clay-like hands coming out of the wall and stuff. Frankly, I wasn't sure I wanted to know, but I knew I had to ask. In response, Mitsue-san started to rub her arms as if to ward off a sudden chill.
窓が叩かれるんです。誰もいないのに。あと、声が。
These people are all crazy, I tell you.
どんな？
若い女性の声だと思うんですけど、よくわからないんです。
Goosebumps had pricked up on her arms. Clearly she had experienced it for herself.
だから、実家の鍵ならお渡ししますけど、中に入ってお探しくださいって私。あの方。
The journalist.
ミスティ出版の内山さんっておっしゃったかしら。お電話があったんです。今日これから来られるはずなんですけど。
The plot thickens, huh? Of all the crazy coincidences, I shot Daigo-kun a look.
ご存知なんですか?
I nodded slightly.
はい、妹の、まあ、ちょっとした知り合いで。
Obviously, there was a bit more to it than that, but it wasn't a lie at least. Daigo-kun spoke up next.
その鍵、俺たちが受け取って渡しておきます。多分目的は似たようなものですから。
I don't know why she would agree to that, you know, just handing the key to two strangers she never met before. That time they bumped into the room of her mother, who is a vegetable in the hospital, and somehow they're also investigating this fucking ghost rumor stuff, and sure, let's just give them the keys, because they seem so trustworthy. Just like the dude I'm supposed to meet, yes, of course. And all is well. Mitsue-san dug around in her pocket. She's fucking doing it, I can't believe it. She fished out the key, then stared down at it for a moment. No, you know what? I will do it myself, she then said.
あの部屋、202号室ですけど、クロスを張り替えただけで手つかずなんだそうです。
え？
だから誰も住めないんだって。春子おばさんが言ってました。
Personally, I was more interested in what she wasn't saying. What did she have to hide? A shiver ran down my spine. Once I took the cold metal key from Mitsue-san, she handed me a small note as well. I glanced at it to find her name and address written there.
家を見たら、ここに鍵を送っておいてください。金目のものはないそうですから。そういう心配はしてませんけど。
それって。
I tugged on his sleeve and shot him a look. Somehow I had a feeling I knew exactly what she meant. After that, we thanked Mitsue-san for her time and left the hospital room. I don't know what she meant. Why don't you fucking explain? Out in the lobby, I called Uchiyama-san and learned that he was at a bus stop just a block away. Another coincidence. We drove over and picked him up. Nice. Then headed for the Koyama residence.
お通夜はいいんですか?
Uchiyama-san checked his watch.
3時か。5時には戻らなきゃいけないんです。私受付でしてね。
その亡くなったライターの方って。
ああ、うちの会社の安藤っていうやつなんですけど。 妙な死に方をしてましてね。
Death. Are you serious? Death of Misty Publishing editor ruled a suicide. As of this morning, following an extensive homicide investigation, police have determined the death of Uchiyama-san, age 29, to be a suicide. Coroners previously discovered more than 30 stab wounds all over the front side of Anderson's body, leading detectives to investigate the possibility of a murder. However, at the time the body was discovered, the apartment was locked from the inside and Anderson was found holding the same knife that inflicted the stab wounds. Weird. These circumstances have led police to rule the death a suicide. Misty Publishing has declined to comment on the incident. The police can't be that incompetent, you know. This is unreal and unrealistic. There are no suicides with 30 stab wounds. If they could be, they should determine the cause of death. If it was blood loss, alright, but it's really hard to stab yourself 30 times without passing out before dying of blood loss. You die way earlier. So 30 stab wounds most likely means that someone stabbed you after you already basically died or are unconscious or something. And a locked door doesn't mean anything. Locked from the inside. There are so many ways to break locked rooms these days. I mean locked room theories and murders. But okay, suspension of disbelief, I guess. Let's keep it at that.
妙な
Yeah, how so? Daigo-kun turned and glanced back at Uchiyama-san in backseat. Fuck if I know, he says. But Uchiyama-san merely shook his head and pulled out a handkerchief and started to clean his glasses.
202の件には関係ないと思いますよ。ただこれに関わることで今社内がてんやわんやしてましてね。
なるほど
His choice of words suggested he didn't want to go into detail. Both Daigo-kun and I seemed to sense this, and so we didn't attempt to pry further.
それよりいくつか掴んだ情報がありましてね。
Uchiyama-san slid his glasses back into place, then took a notebook out of his briefcase.
情報ですか
ええ、裏の筋から仕入れたんで怪しさもありますが、これは確かだと思います。
Questionable how exactly? Did he talk to a ghost? I decided not to ask.
一つは不法入国の手助けを生業にしてる中国人から仕入れた情報です。4年前、そいつは高山市の依頼で偽造パスポートを調達しています。名義はエミーナ・サバレ。
Surely that had to be the same Emina I knew of. Had she gone back to the Philippines after
と
all?
ころが彼が手引きして帰国させたホステスは情報を流したあのホステスじゃなかったんですよ。別の女です。
That's no real shock for us, is it? We suspected that.
どういうことでしょう
つまり高山社長の女は帰国してないってことです。
なるほど。
それから
Oh god, there's more? I was impressed he'd managed to dig up so much in only a scant few hours.
運よくあの部屋にクリーニングに入った業者との渡りがつけられたんですよ。ほとんどが当時の会社を辞めてましてね。個人で清掃業を開業してた男から聞けました。
なんて言ってました？
とにかく妙だと。誰もいないのに歩く音は聞こえる。壁は叩かれる。クロスは剥がれてコンクリもむき出しのめちゃくちゃな状態だったそうですが、クロスの張り替えだけで勘弁してもらったそうです。
Evidently Mitsue-san was right. But why would the wallpaper be torn up like that? Something about it didn't sit well with me.
もう少し取材は続けるつもりですが、まずは202号室を見てみないことにはってところです。
In the rear view mirror, I could see Uchiyama-san staring blankly ahead. We had arrived at the Koyama residence. After everything we'd heard about it, it seemed to radiate a threatening aura, and for a long moment we simply gazed at it in silence.